everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of the iConis podcast. I know you've missed us and we've missed you, and we're back again. One, as you always know, this is Barry 3, Dark and Delicious. As we know, a number of episodes, it's never going to get old, as we'll keep on rocking on to the free world, right? Okay. On my side, as always, the man, the myth, the legend, the one that's got you dancing all night long and roller skating backwards with that roller bounce. Who am I talking about? My man, my cousin. That's right.
DJ Rod C. Yes, we are here. It's another episode. We got plans for you.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. You know, and I know if anyone's usually used to us coming up every week, hey, summer. Sometimes we got to enjoy things too. Okay, here we go. So before we jump into this whole episode, we're going to have some fun. Hopefully like the last one. This one, we are just going to break it down from what we were seeing, what we hope in dreams. Hopes and dreams. Before that, as I always say, manners maketh the man. So first and foremost, remember, you got to go out there and support the books. You support the books and give us something to talk about. We all have something to watch, and it's a good old time. All right. If you got to go and check out any comic book stores, check out one of my favorite comic book stores out in Kitchener, which is Wow Comics. Tell Wes and the guys we said hi from the iConis podcast. For our friends out in Montreal, please go and check out Tex Wings on the South Shore. Tell Trevor and the rest of the guys we said hi. And, you know, if you've got a favorite comic book store, please let us know what it is. Send us pictures of it. And we want to know, no matter where it is in the world. I'd like to see a comic book store in Spain and Finland. I want to see what they set up like. Come on, it's small, big. All right, let us know. Put it in the comments below. Okay, here we go. On top of that, we want to tell you. Now, we're also part of the Subculture Podcast Network. You've heard us mention it many times before, and here it is. It's our podcast, the iConis Podcast, along with a good few others that you should be listening to, because that way you have something every day of the week. Here we go. So you got the iConis Podcast. We got Trekker's Delight. We got Portable Hole. We got Entertainment Rants. We got Dork Wars. And we also got Rebel Rock Radio. They do a whole Star Wars thing, and you've definitely got to check it out. You know, tune in. Download their episodes, download ours, watch them, listen to them, let us all know. Okay, we will have that collab coming up sooner than later. We've all been talking about it. Okay, on top of that, if you want to find what I'm doing, you got to just simply check out barry3d.com. That's my website, barry3d.com. It has all the links to this show and everything else I'm doing solo. Check out the calendar, check out show postings, and see me near you. And if you want me to do a show near you, well, once again, use a contact on there or send me an email through my website. Let's talk business, as I like to say in the wrestling world. Rod.
Sir.
Where can we find you?
Find me, as I always say, on the World Wide Web. You can find me on Instagram at Mr. Rod C. You can find me on the world of Twitch at DJ Rod C. Find me in the world of TikTok at DJ Rod C1. That's DJ Rod C1. The number one. There you go.
Absolutely. Now, for anyone that wants to do your own podcast, we use Podbean. If you want to find us, that's iconis.podbean.com. And if you want to have a podcast, you be it on Podbean or wherever you get your podcast from, or you want to have any kind of social media, or you need a graphic artist, there's one man and one man alone you should turn to, and that man is
J Bird Digital Art.
Mr. Jason Reese, J Bird Digital Art. You tell him that you heard about him on the iConis podcast, and he'll give you a discount on the work. Cool. I think we got it all covered, Rod.
I believe so too.
I believe so, because once again, manners maketh the man, and here we go. So on this afternoon, tonight, early morning, whenever you listen to this podcast or watch it, remember, like, subscribe, share, review. Okay, you got the video, and we also got the podcast you can take with you. We've got you on all mediums. Rod, what's the subject today?
Today's subject, we'll be discussing about D23 movie announcements. What we like, what we're anticipating. Right. Marvel, Disney, D23 movie announcements. Let's
D23 movie announcements. Here we go. So D23, Marvel Phase 6, anything along those lines. So we're going to kick it off first with, of course, we're going to have to talk about it because some of it we know is coming out. Some we've seen trailers. And the first one we're going to talk about and hit is Captain America, Brave New World. That's what it is, Brave New World. Did I get the title right?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Brave New World.
All right, because I was still thinking NWO, New World Order. Down.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's Booker T. I know my wrestling people are going to come around and lynch mob me on that one. It's, oh my gosh. Speaking of wrestling, I'm also doing some commentating, some color commentating for IPW Wrestling. So it's I, P as in Peter, W as IPW Wrestling. Check it out outside of in Brantford and around. So you'll hear me or see me if you come to one of the events. We've got some events coming up. Please keep an eye out for that. A lot of fun, great group of guys that working with and gals, and the wrestling. Wow. This is, I love my indie wrestling. Come on and support. Thank you very much. Big shout out to Mike and Tim for allowing me to join in on the madness and all the talent in the ring and outside the ring and behind the scenes. Okay. Thank you. There we go. I'll do a shout out. So we're talking about, Brave New World, Captain America, Brave New World. Now I know a lot of fans might be watching the MCU who don't read the comic books, and they might be going, huh? Because after Avengers Endgame, which was, that's it, Endgame for the Avengers, but the Avengers team never dies. Captain America, as we know, his trip goes back in the past, and he gets his happy ending in the sense that he goes back to go and get that last dance with Peggy Carter to live out his life. Last dance for romance tonight, right? And he lives out that whole thing because originally he gets frozen, wakes up. Peggy Carter was married, had kids. Okay, fine, cool, got it. We move on. But then he goes back, and then he comes and he shows up as we know, no spoiler. It's Tony Stark ends up dying in the MCU, and he's at the funeral, and it's Old Man Rogers. Now they did a whole storyline where in the Avengers comic books where the super soldier serum starts like fading out of, Steve Rogers' system, and he starts aging. So it's almost like an old Steve Rogers, right? But he's still got the costume. He's still with he's got a variation of his costume. He doesn't wear the mask, and he starts kind of doing his underground movement with the Avengers. Another whole big storyline. So here's a couple of things. One, he travels back in time. Does he get with Peggy? Does he have kids with Peggy? Because that means the kids that Peggy had with whoever she married because she thought Steve was gone.
Right.
Did Steve going back in time and getting that last dance have that whole situation going? And did that make us a diversion in the timeline, which the TVA is watching? That's a whole different story. And I'm not getting into that. We're going, okay, Brave New World. So we know Steve Rogers gave Falcon his shield. He gave Sam his shield. He goes, hey, I'm good. I've had my adventures in the past. And we've heard of talk about it because we've been talking about the invaders years ago on this podcast and saying how the MCU can bring the invaders into the Marvel universe by using this whole time travel part. Steve goes back, but he doesn't, and he actually fights through. So he went from the Howling Commandos. He could have started up the invaders. Mentioned that, the Human Torch did exist in that time, the android Human Torch, and maybe we could have brought in Namor, right? Namor is very long-lived, not the version of Namor we got in the Wakanda movies, but maybe more of a true sense of Namor. Once again, potato, maybe you could bring in that Namor. I'm good either way. So let's not get off topic, let me not get off topic. Sam gets the shield. Sam goes through the whole things with Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yep.
That was a cool series. And this leads to Brave New World. And it's not the player setup. So Rod, what do you think of the trailer you saw so far for Brave New World?
Well, I liked it. I liked it in the sense that you're seeing Sam as a different individual. He's starting to fill into the role of the new Captain America. You can see that he's trying to take ownership. He's trying to make it his own. You see, again, he's having the slight conversation with the president and then saying that, what if we have a disagreement? So you can still hear the authority of Sam Wilson being the person who is saying, I have to represent this brand, this position, and just let people know that Captain America is about justice and right and being right, being right for America.
Yes.
Wanted to make sure that, that particular imagery is pulled through. And I can see it. You can see it now. He's starting to take ownership again from Falcon Winter Soldier, is just he's just been given this new position, this new title, this new life that he really wasn't mentally ready for. And he's going through the paces. Now we can see that he's okay. I'm accepting the role. I'm accepting the position. I'm accepting being Captain America. I am not Steve Rogers. You're dang right. You're not Steve Rogers. And now we start seeing the deviation of this is what Sam will do. This is what Steve wouldn't do.
Exactly. And Sam, understanding Steve's mentality, his devotion, it's nice to see him kind of pushing back on the political powers that are trying to take the symbol of Captain America. Because even if Steve was here, Steve is for the American people. He's for the American ideals. It has nothing to do, and hear me out, it doesn't have nothing to do with you're Democrat, conservative, liberal, Republican, whatever. I'm not into politics, but hey, he's not a political party person. He's not about pro-military or anti-military. He is here for everyone that came over and made America unique as the way it is, with all peoples of different creeds, colors, and that's the simplistic beauty that Captain America stands for. He literally is a symbol for the people. He's a symbol for what America and the ideals America is supposed to be.
He's Sam the people's champion.
He's the people's champion. Raise the eyebrow. Raise the eyebrow. All you said, can he layeth the smacketh down with his shield? Right?
Language.
Exactly. That's why I had to censor myself. And this is who he is. So Sam understands that. Sam's his best friend. Sam and Bucky are his best friends. They both understand that. They both agree with it. And not only are they thinking, well, what I do, it's more so while I'm in this costume and I'm holding this shield, what would Steve do not to deviate from the core of the, persona.
Principles.
Right. Principles and persona of Captain America, regardless who has the shield.
Got it. 100%. 100%. So, yeah, and I'm definitely liking now we're getting the introduction of Red Hulk, and we're going to go into it. Hopefully they're going to go into a good in-depth storyline and give us a good explanation of why. We know as comics why. I hope they're going to be able to translate it to the big screen and give us a valid, legitimate rendition that we will all accept and say, okay, you get the golf clap. That was good. I like the way you guys did it. I like the way you guys did it. So I'm really having some good hope about it myself.
Right, because I'm very excited to it. Because from the trailer, so this is no spoilers. This is stuff that we've seen in the trailers. In the trailers, you see Isaiah Bradley. So he was the first Captain America, the Black Captain America, as we said, before Steve even got the super soldier serum. We talked about that character for, our Black History Month, and we focused on Isaiah Bradley and his story. So if you're a fan of the show, we've already covered it. And if you're not, please go back and find that, either the video or the audio, as we get into that. But we talk about him. So he's in there. So we got to find what's causing him to act the way he is. Is he getting mind controlled? Is he just fed up? Does he know something that he's trying to shut down and he figures no one else is going to stop it because only he sees the evil that's going on? And this is why he goes after Harrison Ford in the role he's in. So Harrison Ford, we know he's Thunderbolt Ross, right? He's General Ross. Betty Ross's dad. So here, and he, turns into the Red Hulk. We know this. We know Harrison Ford makes a joke saying, oh yeah, I know I look different. It's just because I shaved the mustache, because the previous actor that was playing him passed away. Rest in peace. So that was a nice little tongue-in-cheek moment to address that he's going to look differently. It's better than Family Matters, where, as a kid, as a Tootie or Tootie or whatever, not Tootie, but Judy, I think it is in Family Matters. She goes up the stairs in one season and then she's never seen again for the rest of the season. For the other season after. That's how they wrote the character out.
That is so true. That is so true.
I'm going to my room for the last one. And she never came back down. Like, I don't know what they did to that poor child. That's a grounded. So, so they addressed that. What was cool with some of the Easter eggs. So, and it's like to see that the writers and the actors have a sense of humor. Because if you look at the scene when they're in his office with Harrison Ford, right? Behind the wall, there's a portrait of Liam Neeson, not Liam Neeson,
Leslie
Naked Gun guy,
Leslie Nielsen.
Leslie Nielsen, right? And if you go back, yeah, it's a picture of him.
Yeah,
And if
yeah,
you
yeah,
go
yeah.
back to and if you go back to the Naked Gun movies, he's got a picture of Harrison Ford behind him. So this is the reason why they did the opposite. So nice tag, random fact right there. So we see Red Hulk. If we got the General and you got a Red Hulk, you got to have a Betty. I like to think of what have we not seen? So we've seen the frozen body of the Celestial that was coming out the Earth that no one talks about because Sam flies by it,
Right.
right? We see Isaiah. Okay, so we got to touch on the Eternals. We've got to touch with a Red Hulk. We're going to get more Hulks. Is Bruce Banner going to have to make an appearance? Bucky,
Uh,
and once again, Bucky at one point was Captain America while Steve was away. So are they going to just let Falcon be Captain America for this movie and leave him, or are they going to transfer it over to Bucky to have his Captain America moment with the shield and his version of the costume, which is already in the storyline? So many things. We're dealing with spies. Is Natasha Romanoff, the Black Widow, go to make an appearance?
right.
Which wouldn't be too far off kilter. If you got a Red Hulk, you can have a Green Hulk. If you remember how it was going in Avengers, Bruce and Natasha seemed to have a flirtatious relationship going on until he kind of left. And they kind of dealt with it when he came back in Avengers. But once again, time travel, things change. We don't know. And are they going to bring the Hulkbusters?
Mm-hmm.
I like out of the Captain America movies that have been out so far, like the true Captain America movies, my favorite still is the Winter Soldier. First Avenger was cool. Civil War was cool. It was the introduction of Black Panther. Loved it. But but the Winter Soldier one, I can watch any day. And that was more of a spy kind of action thriller. So I think they're trying to get back to that, in my opinion.
And
All right.
it's a good thing. I mean, in a sense, like 'cause you're making a good transition to the Thunderbolts. So it makes a perfect transition now that, Thunderbolt Ross becomes the Red Hulk. What is making him do that? We're gonna find that out in Brave New World. Now, what's gonna be the transition from that to Thunderbolt? I'm hoping that they have um, enough little breadcrumb trails in that movie that leads right into Thunderbolt because I now I've always thought if this is supposed to be Thunderbolts' team per se, the Thunderbolts in that sense, is Red Hulk, is he now Red Hulk? Or, is he permanently Red Hulk and he's on the run? Not on the run, but because
Exactly.
he can't be there now. He's not president no more. Can't be President Ross anymore. If he goes red, that's it. You just off the ballot. You're not going to be on the next election. You're out.
Well, according to the ballot, you could probably still run.
We'll just leave it at that. Right on. Right
Uh,
on.
okay, yeah,
But
I
yeah,
get,
but that's it. So I can't wait to see how they're going to make that transition of just trying to bring it all together. And yeah, we'll definitely be even talking about that when more news comes out for it. We'll definitely be talking about that.
that's absolutely for sure. Because see, now you bring up another point, right? Because I can see like what's the common thread right now between Falcon and Winter Soldier and Brave New World, right? So it's the characters. Once again, it's Sam who's coming back.
Right.
He's got the shield. They want the American government wants the shield. The same kind of theme they had. Isaiah Bradley is back. The Red Hulk is there. So how did the Red Hulk come to be? Well, I'm sure what's his name? The leader is somewhere in there.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So that's what I'm thinking for that. Now you brought up another point. So before we move on, you got anything else to add to the America Brave New World? Things you like to see, you hope to see, maybe theories?
Um. Well, you definitely, I know the main is believed the main villain is going to be the leader. As far as
Mm.
I know, as far as I understood and read, the leader's going to be there. So that's definitely going to be great to see. And hopefully touch on when we last, because it's supposed to be still in the same continuity of the Incredible Hulk, when Stern had Bruce Banner's gamma ray blood, drip into his head in this cut, and then like
Yeah.
he's smiling like, "Ooh, I got a tingly fingling. Ooh, my tingling senses, my leadership senses are
Ooh, I got a
tingling."
good head. Mm.
So hopefully they'll expand on that, pun intended, on that, and we'll see where we go from there. So yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to see how they're gonna bring in the leader. And again, I love it that they're giving us little tidbits and this and that, and we know they're holding stuff. So I have no problem holding the leader to like the very last third act end of the very last trailer. Let's say, oh yeah, by the way, we're releasing this in the next 2 weeks. Oh yeah, by here, leader, what? Gone. Come back in 2 weeks. We'll see you all there.
See you in the theater, right?
See you
Right.
in the theater in 2 weeks.
So, and that's what it is. So now, once again, people, we're just having a roundtable discussion about all this that we saw. As I said, hopes and dreams. So now let's talk about Thunderbolts for a second. Right?
Okay.
Let's talk about Thunderbolts. So let's go through some little bit of facts. So Thunderbolts made their first appearance in the Incredible Hulk, issue number 449 in January of 1997. Now, the reason I'm bringing up Thunderbolts here is the original team of Thunderbolts, not the MCU one, with the comic book one, was a bunch of, let's say, B-list, D-list, maybe an A-list or two villains who were set up on getting their butts kicked all the time and figured they needed to do something a little bit different. So you had Baron Zemo turn around and said, hey guys, and he got together some of these other heroes like Moonstone and the rest of them was like, what we're going to do is, aren't you tired of always getting our teeth kicked in by the superheroes? Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to be pretend air quotes, superheroes, a new superhero team. We're going to give ourselves all identities, still use our powers, and then we're going to take ourselves to fight the villains. So fight the heroes. So like for example, them going against the Hulk. The Hulk is always seen as a rampaging monster. So if a new superhero team goes to stop a rampaging monster, guess what? Even though we know the Hulk is a good guy and he just wants to be left alone, and they're trying to stop him, and to the public, it makes them look like a good guys, right? It's all about PR. It's all about PR and perception.
Good PR.
Good PR. So they take that press and then they turn around and make a deal with the government to be like a government superhero team. So they're funded by the government. So once again, while steal money when you're making big money from the government, like the Avengers, then you give the perception of fighting certain people. Why fight to break into an installation to steal something when they give you access for you to use it whenever you want to get that technology, right? Why steal? So they've infiltrated the government, and that's how they're doing everything in the comic book. Now, in the movie, so I know the comic book has, they had different bases, and this whole thing was created by Kirk Busiek. So Kirk Busiek created the Thunderbolts, and Mark, and one of my artists I like, Mark Bagley, he did a lot of the art for them too in their own run. So that was their whole thing. And let's see here, list of Thunderbolt members. Let's see, roster list. Let me go through here. So I know like the main one was Citizen V, which was Baron Helmut Zemo. So he was the leader. Then you had, so he went by Citizen V, right? Then you had Goliath, who changed his name to Atlas, his name and his costume to Atlas, Then you had the Beetle, which is a Spider-Man villain, change up his costume, and he went by, Mach 1, Mach 2, Mach 3. So he changed, and then you had Moonstone, who changed her costume and her name to Meteorite. You had Screaming Mimi, who changed to Songbird. You had Fixer, who was in the Micronauts comic book. I think it was issue number 26 or 28, something along those lines. And he went by Techno. Then there was Jolt, and then of course Hawkeye. So the ones I made, up to Jolt were the main team, and then of course you had Man Killer that went by Amazon. You had Phantom that went as Blackheath, and so forth. There's a couple of more, Gypsy Moth went as Skirin. So they were all villains. So that concept was smart. Like that was like Baron Zemo was like, yeah, we're done with this. So that was a comic book version of it.
Mhm.
Now, the MCU version, we know it's going to be different. They're going to use who they have. They're not going to bring in new people here. And
Right.
in there, we've got, the White Widow, or the new Black Widow, right?
Right.
That's the sister from the Black Widow movies. You got uh, the Crimson Avenger, who's the Russian version of Captain America.
Well,
Or is it
the
Crimson
Red
Avenger?
Guardian.
Red
The Red
Guardian. Sorry,
Guardian.
sorry.
Red
Red
Guardian.
Guardian. Yes. So Red Guardian, right? Who we've seen in the Black Widow movie. So that's two people from the Black Widow movie. You have he was supposed to be a replacement, John Walker, to America, but
Right.
he's going to go by U.S. agent,
Right.
right? So he's there, and he got let's say discharged because if you watch Falcon and Winter Soldier, you see what happens with his storyline. Cool, give him a costume. So they start bringing these people together, along with some more when they join the Thunderbolts, and it's being led by the Contessa. Please don't ask me to say her full name. Contessa started off in a comic book as a love interest and an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. with Nick Fury when Nick Fury was white. Okay. And then she kind of double crossed S.H.I.E.L.D. and then she was leading Hydra at one point, and that's the comic book. So now it seems she never had any times with S.H.I.E.L.D. It's played by the woman that played Ellen from,
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah, Julia Louis-Dreyfus. That's exactly it. Right. From Seinfeld fame. So she's in there and she's hard hitting, no nonsense, hard hitting. I like it, but of course, MCU is gonna be different from the Marvel comics, so I get that they're putting in their own world. That's where the difference fall in. So that whole team gets put together, and they got to fight somebody. We don't know who they're fighting. I just saw the trailer as a piece of something, and the guy's like, everyone's looking like, "What's your name?" My name is Bob, and that was it. And Bob, there's something about Bob. I don't know enough about this Bob person. I know I sent you a thing of that trailer there earlier, Rod.
Yeah.
But
Bob
obviously,
is supposed to be Sentry.
oh, really? That's okay. That's who it is.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Bob
Okay.
is Sentry. So we got Sentry who's added on. Taskmaster, basically
Yes.
again, who's an add-on from the Black Widow storyline.
Yeah.
U.S. agent, like you said, Ghost. They're bringing Ghost, so Ghost
Right.
will be added to the team.
From Wasp,
and Bucky,
right? From Ant-Man.
Ant-Man, Bucky will be there as well.
Right.
So those are the ones who are basically filling out the rest of the team, quote unquote, for the Thunderbolts. So yeah, it's
Okay.
gonna be quite interesting because at least it's the good thing that they're showing us all the I don't want to say all like the anti-hero, all the villains or all the quote unquote bad guys, but we're giving them something to do in a sense. They came in, whatever
Mhm.
happened to them. Now they're basically the MCU is gonna assemble them together. So which to me is great. You got good characters on this, great story. You found out about again, U.S. agent is one person who just went a little now we can understand what we're gonna do with him. He's on the sideline. Let's bring him in. Ghost has her issues now. She's been slightly healed by Janet with that ability, to keep her in phase. And so that was great as well. So again, it's a lot of different stories that we've now gone through the storyline of the MCU and learn about these characters. Let's try to bring them in together and do something, which to me was it's a great opportunity. So yeah, I like that. I want to see what this rendition is going to be. But like you say, we're used to seeing like Baron, but if I remember correctly, he died, right? Did Zemos, did he die? He died, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
if I
so much.
remember,
We don't know everything, but yes. Yeah.
If I remember correctly, yeah, Zemo died.
Yeah.
So that's me. So he would have been perfect, quote unquote, the leader for the Thunderbolts to kind of make that transition easily from the comic books to real life. But you know what? Hey, we're going to work. They're going to work with somebody else, and her name is the Contessa, and we're going to leave it at that.
So I'm curious to see. So I mean, if they're bringing in Sentry Bob, okay, that explains some things that because we know with Sentry he has his dark side, like it's another part of his subconscious that he doesn't realize it that makes this dark gaseous cloud. Now you can use a dark gaseous cloud, not like that Fantastic Four movie where that's when they made Galactus. So this is where he comes in and he almost fights himself, like he's Superman level power. So we'll see how it is. So to me, it feels like their version of the Suicide Squad Marvel with the Thunderbolts.
That's exactly what I thought earlier.
That's what I feel about it. Like in the movie, I'm not talking the comic book, I'm talking like the movies that's gonna be coming up. Interested, still want to see it. But then again, who's the villain? So at one point, they're not just going to fight a version of Sentry. And if they do, I still think, seeing that it's got a lot of elements from Black Widow, Captain America, which is espionage, and then some other, yeah, it's mostly gonna be espionage. So I still think the leader's somewhere in there.
Listen, I was waiting for you to just to finish up because I was gonna just say something along that line because I was saying before, at least from Brave New World to Thunderbolts, it's an easier transition going from that movie to the other, to this one. So if the leader, and this is one thing I would like, I'm happy, like if that does happen, if not
Right.
just me personally, if they do have the leader as the villain in this movie as well, that's great. Because in reality, we know from the comics, you got villains. They get away, or they're not done and out. They come back again. They escape. I got another treacherous plan. What are you gonna do today, Brain? Try to take over the world again. He doesn't stop. So why can't the leader come back with a second? Okay, dang it, that didn't work. I'm gonna try this.
Exactly.
And do part two, part three, whatever the case should be. So yeah, I'm loving that.
Yeah, and I would like to see the leader come back in that. Okay, because I would like to see underhanded because he could be I mean, we did a whole thing on Doom, and the leader could be maybe the gateway to something like bringing Doom into however that's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I know the only sad part is we don't have a solo Incredible Hulk story, and I think that's something that we need. I would like to see because Hulk is showing up different places. We've seen different versions of him. We've talked about this. I would love to see the Hulk with the Pantheon. I'd love to see a World War Hulk. I would love to see, Hulk dealing with his son Scar now that he's on Earth and She-Hulk knows about him. I'd like to see Hulk get back to Hulk size, like that big size or green. We only see glimpses of him, of the Hulk here and there and up to just recently, but I'm not going to go any further than that. People that know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. If you don't, okay, you will if you see a certain movie. So,
there you go.
All right. So maybe I gave away that way, but sorry if I did. Sorry. So this is where I think that would come in because if that's going to be a case that you're starting with the Red Hulk and Captain America: Brave New World, and then you're the lead. I'm assuming the leader has to be there. So if the leader is in this one, there's got to be a Bruce Banner moment in this one, right? Like,
yeah,
let Bruce Banner and the leader be, if they're not going to have their own movie, let them be subplots properly.
Most likely they will. Most likely
in the background, dealing with each other.
Yeah,
at least give me that.
for rights, as we know, for rights that they can't, as of
That's
now,
fine.
They still can't have a standalone Hulk one. That's why Hulk is appearing in every place else. So this would be perfect. Hulk will be able to appear in this one and have a battle confrontation with the Red Hulk, have a battle confrontation with the leader. Let's go. And that'd be perfect.
If he's got to take on, I mean, if you got someone like Sentry coming in, who can go toe to toe with Sentry? The Hulk.
Right.
The Hulk. This is where my thoughts are with that. All right. So let's see what we've got else on the list here. So we've gone through, those first two movies. And then there's Ironheart. Let's go to Ironheart for half a second.
Okay.
Right? Ironheart, we know it's been cast. It's coming up. He's more of a newer character, even to the comic books.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's, on the show, I know we talk about a lot of characters that exist from way back. And this one is very, more recent than anything else. So Ironheart, let's and that's what's surprising. Out of all the things they could have done, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying it's almost like Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel's a very, the movie we've got with the Marvels, the series we've got with Miss Marvel on Disney Plus. New characters. Most of the characters we're talking people like 80 years old, 70 years old. Batman's hitting 85 this year. So this is why I was, surprised with Ironheart, but happy with it. Happy with it. I don't know enough about this character because I've never really got into Ironheart.
Yeah.
So I'll be truthfully honest. So I'll be curious to see it. I'm gonna have to do some reading to catch up with it. I just know that she's a young African American girl, very intelligent. She's been a fan of Iron Man. She's seen Iron Man. She makes her own armor just to prove that she can
Right.
and go from there. And she still has her families to deal with. So Ironheart, she made her first cameo appearance in Invincible Iron Man Volume 2, issue number 7 in May of 2016. So, okay, she's older than I thought. And then her first full appearance was in issue number 9 of July of 2016 as Ironheart. So, the character shows up, Riri shows up in, issue number 7, and as Ironheart in issue number 9, and Invincible Iron Man Volume 3, issue number 3 of January of 2017. So she was created by Brian Michael Bendis, uh, Mike Diodato, Eve Ewing, and Kevin Lobato. So these are the people that created this character, Ironheart, the whole 9 yards. And her alter ego, I mean, her main thing is her name is Riri Williams. Every time I hear Riri, I'm always thinking Rihanna. So Riri Williams. And what I like is I want to see her own adventures because I don't know enough about her rogues gallery, but I know she does join a team that is very possible that can happen. And that team is the Young Avengers.
Yeah.
So we'll see. She's a super genius, and then of course the armor gives her what the armor gives, right? Supersonic flight. It's got regenerative life support, energy repulsor and missile protection, superhuman strength, speed, durability, agility, reflexes, and senses because of the sensor array. So she's a female Iron Man. Okay. But an idol of Iron Man and honoring him, maybe more so than Peter Parker. Like I know Peter Parker was taken under in the MCU Tony Stark's wing. He gave him the glasses when he passed, gave him all his tech. And Peter being Peter, nerded it up and almost, he was too jokey with it or not responsible enough with it. If Riri had that access, would have been a different story.
Right.
So what do you think of Ironheart, Riri?
I'm interested. Like I will admit, I haven't really followed up on the storyline with Ironheart, so I really don't know too much about her in that regard. I thought I read somewhere or heard somewhere that she kind of like reverse engineered making her version of the suit. So
Yes.
she
Sorry.
basically,
Yes.
I guess, was at least wise enough to figure out, okay, this is what the suit looks like. This is what Iron Man suit's like. And you know what? I can reverse engineer it and figure out how to do it with stuff that she got from around the campus where she was, in college, whatever the case would be. So that's and things she found around MIT. Let's be frank. Let's put some respect on her place. Respect her
The name.
authority.
Respect the authority.
MIT. Respect MIT. But yeah, so I'm like interested in seeing like this young genius and giving the viewpoint. I'm liking again. This is a young individual. We know through the comics, Peter Parker is a very intelligent. When he was young, he was very intelligent. Definitely when he got older, he did. I'm trying to remember. I'm sure it's not Parker's industry, but he started his own company and so forth.
Yes.
But we know. Let's go now to the intelligent person that we know out of this triangle here of Iron Man, Spider-Man, and Riri. Iron Man, we know how smart he is, but we know him out of his older age. You see from the MCU, they show little clips of saying when Tony Stark was 15, he invented whatever the case would be. He was a, front cover and everything along that line. But those were just like memory flashes. Now we're going to have the opportunity to go through the journey of someone of her age when Tony was at that age and have a similarity type of viewpoint.
Mm-hmm.
If I was that intelligent, that smart, that far advanced in just about anything, what would I do? What can I do? And what trouble am I trying to get myself out of? Because my craziness just like, I want to make an iron suit and start flying around. Intelligently, yes, you can make it. Being moral, young child, young person, young individual. Should you actually have such power at your hands? But we're going to see what happened today. We're going to find out today. And so I'm liking the story. I'm liking that opportunity of just kind of like seeing what would someone do when you have that, you're at that level, you have that ability. So I really can't wait for the writers to go back, see what they wrote in Ironheart, just to get a good idea of what the mindset of what they wrote, and hopefully that is transitioned very well to the screen, to the to the miniseries, just giving us a glimpse of what someone would be if they had that power, that mental power, that the smarts. I'm saying every word but the right freaking word. I ain't smart today. Won't
Yeah,
gonna
it's
be
been a long day,
tomorrow.
but we having long days, so, it's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right. You still recover from Caravana. But man,
We ain't gonna lie about that. We don't wanna lie about that. No,
I
we
ain't
ain't
gonna
gonna
lie
lie
about
about
that. We
that at
know
all.
that, man. Come on now. Come on now. So next year,
Yeah, but that's it.
uh,
Yeah.
Caravana keep coming every year. We keep getting older. Come on now. The knees, the back, the energy levels, man, we need it.
Telling
So,
you.
all right. So
Anyways,
I get
that's
you.
another
And it'd
story.
be cool because it's almost like the 3D animated cartoon of Iron Man when he was on there. They made him younger. And so we can get
Yes.
that, see Riri in school, Riri interacting with friends, having that social life that Tony Stark wouldn't have. Tony Stark was a playboy. Riri is still in school, still has friends, there's still the social aspect of growing up, lack of a better word, that she's got to have to go through what we would see. And
100%.
that's what we got when Peter Parker first became Spider-Man. Even though he was Spider-Man, he was still a teenager. And he had
100%.
to go through dating and rejection, keeping his grades up, not being popular, being bullied, and then having all that power. He could have knocked out Flash Thompson long time ago, but he had Ben, he had Uncle Ben in his mind, power, responsibility.
Great
Come on,
power, great responsibility. Okay. Oh,
don't smack a
that's it.
mofo. Right. Okay. So that's what it comes down to. I'm interesting to see how that's going to go. I'm
Mm-hmm.
along for the ride. Now, if we're going to talk about other
Definitely.
series, I want to at least shed a light on these ones. So this one, first of all, Agatha Harkins, right? It was
Yep.
Agatha all
Yep.
along. So we
Yep.
know that's coming back. That's going to be a continuation of WandaVision, or
Mm-hmm.
no, I want to do a spinoff from WandaVision.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm hoping because right now we know this is a classic superhero stuff. We know they're going to bring in magic because magic is a big thing right now in the Marvel universe. That it's in the magic
Mm-hmm.
universe. Everyone's catching up. We know Doctor Strange. We know Scarlet
Scarlet
Witch.
Witch. Mm-hmm.
But then Agatha Harkins. I want to see, especially what I'm going to bring up, later on, how her character is going to go. So she
Right.
gets in there in WandaVision. She clearly is the villain, right? Like she's not an
Right.
anti-hero. She's clearly the villain in that. She lost all her powers at the end of WandaVision. She gets trapped, loses all her magic powers. So she's on a quest to, one, get back her magic powers, and two, it seems that they're bringing back the Coven, which is the Salem Seven
Yeah.
witches.
Yeah.
So that's a whole thing. I know now. Out of that Salem Seven, I believe one of them was her son, or they all got together to battle her son. If I remember the
Her
storyline.
mother. One was her mother.
Oh, her mother. Right. So
It
sorry,
was her
I'm getting
mother.
the comic book confused with
Mm.
the series. Right. So she's coming back. So now that the spotlight's on her, it's kind of taking her from a villain, and I think they're going to start transitioning her to an anti-hero.
Mm-hmm. And you're right. It's going to be a very interesting twist because the whole story is basically her getting her power and transitioning and just, kind of like getting revenge on what happened to her.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it seems like throughout the trailer, it just seems like she's not, she doesn't seem so evil. You know what I mean? It just seems like at certain points, the way conversations go in trailers, is like, oh, you, you, you may not be so rock hard dangerous as we were thought. So we shall see. So yeah, I personally can't wait to see that. And because as conversations, I can't remember if we've had these conversations, but I know I've seen it online, and I've had the conversation with someone at the end of um Doctor Strange, multiverse of was it
Madness, yeah.
multiverse of madness, when the cathedral collapsed,
Mm-hmm.
you see like a glimpse of red light.
Yes.
So it gives the impression that the Scarlet Witch may not be under rubble. We don't know. Did she jump into? What did she do? We don't know. But it can clearly say that she's be gone. So who knows? Again, one of those third acts, or season two. All you see is knocking on the door, just like Wanda opened the door, expecting that, and she see her brother Pedro, but it ain't Pedro, but it is Pedro. Like, aren't you
Huh?
Quicksilver? Like, yeah, be like, hey, how you doing? I thought I had you under my spell. I can correct that. And then all of a
Yes.
sudden, that's in the middle of the hallway. That'd be hilarious. But anyway, we'll get back to that.
Yeah. And I think so, to your point, because one, heroes don't really die. They just find clever ways to escape or to get rid of, right? I mean,
100%.
come on now. The only hero that died for the longest period of time was Barry Allen, the Flash from in DC.
Mm-hmm.
Other
Mm-hmm.
main heroes don't really die. They always come back. Superman, Green Lantern, uh, Aunt May. I know you're all laughing at me, but trust me, if you read the books, Aunt May will be. I'm telling you, it should do Marvel World's End and show everyone dying, and how they've done these storylines already, and it should still show Aunt May still alive, eating a Twinkie with a can of Raid, smacking a cockroach, saying, "That's the bad stuff." Yep. So with Agatha, and now keep in mind that using the powers of the Dark Tome that they were
Mm-hmm.
using, because Wanda started off as a hero,
Yeah.
and then slowly her journey started getting a little darker. We understand why,
Yes.
because one, she fell in love with the Vision, and then the Vision apparently died, and then she wanted to bring the Vision back, and she kind of snapped, and then she wanted a place where everything was a-okay.
Right.
You watch WandaVision, you watch those Easter eggs. Then she created this world where everything was there that she needed. And she had kids. Oh my
Yes.
gosh, what did you do at the end of WandaVision? Well, you find out for sure the Vision is dead, right? They
Yep.
they took that storyline from John Bryan where they made the Vision all white. So that's a different storyline altogether. Her kids gone, disappeared, right? Because she magically created those kids. So when she came to realization, they kind of disappeared. But then the end of WandaVision, she hears the kids calling for her.
Right.
And that starts her off on the journey, and they kind of touched on it, but I wish they would have touched on it a little bit more with the Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, but it's a Doctor Strange movie, but she was there. So she went from being a hero to a villain. So which means with Agatha now having her disconnect from her magic and the Dark Tome, guess what? Maybe the Dark Tome was what was influencing her to be evil. Since she's got that connection severed, you're getting that influence out of your system. You're going back to your true self. Your barometer, the needle is switching back more to good than it is
Mm-hmm.
evil,
Yeah.
because she's not anchored with that Dark Tome anymore. So that's going to bring her back, bring in Wanda back again to see how that can go. You're right. Red Flash, no one's didn't see a body, don't count. Right? Okay.
Show me
Didn't
some
see a
dental.
body,
Show me
don't
some
count.
dental. I ain't see no dental. I ain't see no
No,
dental.
right? Mhm. So there we go. So there's a lot of possibilities there with that one. Now, and I'll give you I know it's not on the list. So we have that, and I'll keep on track here. So that's that. Then the other one is Daredevil Born Again,
Right.
right? Daredevil done by Netflix. Okay, fine. Now with, Disney, getting all the Marvel properties from the individual people. So that's from Netflix. They're taking that back. Fox, okay, they got that deal. So now Disney is making their Daredevil series, not
Yeah.
Netflix, not anybody else. Disney. So they got back all the actors. I know it's had some up and down with writing and news about it and stuff like that, but it seems everyone's there on board. The Punisher is going to be in it. We know that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Karen's in it. I don't think Foggy's showing up in this series.
Um. n-
I
Hold
don't
on.
think so.
I thought I. I thought
I know Kingpin
I
is
saw
there.
something about him, and I now try to remember if I did read it that he. I thought he was.
I could be wrong. Once again, people, this is just
I
around. We don't have all the facts. So, but we know obviously
he
Daredevil's
might
there,
not be. He
Punisher's
might not
there,
be.
Aaron's there, Kingpin will be there, and Kingpin's be picking up his story from Echo, because the way the Echo series ended, leading
Mm-hmm.
into that Kingpin Great segue. Here we go. Let's bring it. So we know that they've been talking about it. They say that this is supposed to be more violent in some
Yeah.
scenes than the Netflix series. Well, that means Daredevil getting raw. Hopefully, they take him out of the black costume how we left him and get him back to his traditional red costume for more scenes than less. Punisher's in there. It's got to be bloody. And with Disney now seeing the value, it hit over the 1 billion mark. The time of that we made this video for Daredevil for Deadpool and Wolverine, it hit over the 1 billion mark, which makes it the highest grossing R-rated movie ever. Maybe Disney might turn around and go, oh, all right, we get it. We understand. It's true. Daredevil doesn't have to be R-rated because he's right, but Punisher's there. It's not even borderline close to R-rated, if not, because he doesn't do nice things. Like his name is Punisher. Punish. Okay.
For a reason.
So, yeah. So I'm curious to see what storyline they're going to use for Daredevil Born Again. There's so many storylines they can bring in there. Are they going to bring in more of the Hand? Are they going to bring in, the return of Elektra? It's Born Again. So is he coming back? Because last we left him, he was in a black costume. He dealt with the Defenders. Is he coming back as classic Daredevil in Hell's Kitchen? And how is that going to impact his world? So I know what I'd like to see is obviously it's going to be him and Wilson Fisk, Kingpin going back and forth. Yeah. Fisk is going to be the mayor. That's a whole storyline in itself. The Punisher's there. So it's almost a three-way fight at this point because Daredevil doesn't believe in killing, but he does want to bring down the Punisher. And of course, he wants to bring down the Kingpin. And if the Kingpin is there,
Punisher,
yes, right. Yes. You got to have some cannon fodder. And even though I like the hand ninjas, the Hand Clan, right. I want them to be really just as a heavy presence as they were in the Defenders and Iron Fist series, even more so. And let's get into their inner workings. So, because bottom line is Daredevil's a ninja. That's how he was trained. He was trained by Stick. I would like to see the other ninjas show up. Like Stick had his other ninjas all in white. He had Stone, Claw, Psy. Right. That's all their name. They're just one names named after the weapons they used. Daredevil was being trained to be like Stick, and then that training got off filter. So curious to see how Born Again comes in and who would be the surprise appearance.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, maybe Jennifer will show up as She-Hulk because they're two lawyers.
I don't know. I thought I saw somewhere that they were squashing the She-Hulk,
which is a shame. But it would still be nice cameo to see them in court.
Yeah. It's a shame, but I really did like it. I personally liked it because I knew going in what She-Hulk was. She's a fourth wall breaker. She's an individual who is not all about the fighting. The fighting is not the forte for She-Hulk. And I think that probably was the misconception that when people were watching it, expecting, okay, it's a female Hulk smash. Okay, we're going to get a lot of stuff broken. Wait a minute, she's not breaking stuff. What? She's a lawyer. She's in She-Hulk mode, but in a court. I'm confused. That's the reason, probably why it just wasn't accepted. Probably people just didn't understand the history or the dynamics of her. So it didn't. I really wish it kind of came. I hope they can come back. I'll just be honest. I hope they can figure it out and they can bring her back and do something with her. Yeah. Listen,
I agree.
We should talk about Fantastic Four too. Let's not forget about that.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
I'm getting there. So here it is. So I'll say this about She-Hulk. So She-Hulk, yes, I liked everything about She-Hulk. The ending, I get the ending. It fits her series, right? But I still wanted the big fight. I still wanted the big fight at the end.
Yeah.
That's me. But everything else, like She-Hulk broke the fourth wall before Deadpool broke the fourth wall with humor. If you read Savage She-Hulk, okay, then it's a typical classic Hulk She-Hulk. But if you read the She-Hulk run by John Bryan, then that's the She-Hulk they based the series off of, which was humor, breaking the fourth wall, and certain aspects, and then they embellished it even more. And that's really from the comic book. So I hope they bring her back or give her some cameos because I think they've done her dirty. So there we go. We know Moon Knight. I'll say this real quick. Moon Knight's coming back for season 2, right? So we know that's coming back, and I love Moon Knight season 1. That was awesome. So I'm looking forward to season 2. with Isaac playing that character again. So now I do put it, and there's two things. And one's what's truly cast, and then two fantasy things in my head. So I'll do the fantasy stuff first because I'll get down. The last one's be good. So the fantasy one is I know they asked Kevin Feige about Nova. He says Nova, Richard Rider is coming. He's going to be in the MCU. Don't know when. Don't know. So he might make an appearance in one of these properties somewhere. Richard Rider is somewhere in the MCU. He's there. We haven't been introduced to him yet. I'm very excited about this. I want to see the man, Nova, the human rocket, Nova. That's right, Richard Rider, and it's important to me. It has to be Richard Rider. It can't be the later ones. Let's start with the OG and bring him in. So we know we've seen the Nova Corps. I want to see how this is going to play out. Nova Corps was there in Guardians of the Galaxy. I want to see Nova. I want to find out what happened to the Nova Century, to Nova Prime, and all of them, why they weren't in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, because they should have been the first line of defense, how they explain it. Maybe it was something that got created after, but I want to see it. So that's one. The other one I'll say real quick on, nice honorable mention is Young Avengers.
Yeah.
We have the bulk of the Young Avengers, or there's enough characters in there to make a Young Avengers comic book, MCU series, movie right now. For everyone that exists in the Young Avengers. So in the Young Avengers, you have Isaiah Bradley's grandson. Patriot. He's there. Instead of Hulkling, well, we got Scar. You put Scar on the team. If Wanda can get back her two kids, which is is it
Billy and
Speed
Timmy?
and Mystic, or no Speed and
Wickham, yeah.
Right. I think it's Wickham or something along those lines. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you bring in Wanda's two kids. That there is the start of the Young Avengers, along with the new Hawkeye from the Hawkeye series.
Yeah.
She's on the Young Avengers. Like all these, Ironheart, all on the Young Avengers.
So listen, even at the end of Hawkeye, you saw that she went and introduced herself to the new Black Widow. I think I got something for you kind of scenario. So it made me think that they were starting to plant that seed already, if you remember that.
Yes. So the Young Avengers, very possible, as the key people the characters have made their entrance one way or the other in the MCU.
Right.
Okay. So now this brings me to my last point here. I'm putting this best for last. Fantastic Four first step. That's what it's called. First step, is it right?
Yeah, first step.
First step. Fantastic Four first step. So we did previous episode all on Doctor Doom, had some theories, but now we're getting into Fantastic Four. So what do we know about the Fantastic Four so far? They seem, it says, like a kind of a time period, so to speak.
Yeah.
But who says like it's a time period? I've seen things where you might think it's taking place in the future, but they made it retro. Look at the original Batman animated series. It seemed to be in present day, but if you look at Gotham, the TVs look like older style TVs. The cars look like older style cars, but it was a mishmash of present day and retro at the same time. So Fantastic Four first steps could be something like that. Maybe there is a time travel piece. Maybe, who knows? What I do see from what they showed at Hall H in San Diego Comic-Con was they showed a lot of reference material and they gave out. And one giveaway it clearly seems is that everyone's always asking, what Avengers Tower? It's now Baxter Building. Avengers Tower is the Baxter Building. We see that Galactus is looking through a window, which that shows you the height of Galactus. We all know Galactus is really, really tall. He's looking through a window, and it looks like he's looking through Baxter Building window, standing up. But if you remember how the building is shaped, where the Fantastic Four keep their rocket ship in the Baxter Building, it's on top of a bunch of condos. You have a bunch of condos, and then Reed bought the top 5 floors, and he bought the whole building, converted the top 5 floors into the Fantastic Four. He's got a rocket ship, the Pogo plane in there. They got their spaceship in there. They got everything, their living quarters, science, room, labs, everything is in there. and then regular people live underneath, which is kind of crazy to me always. But now, and so he's got a rocket ship there. But now, exactly,
Quiet up there. Keep it quiet up there. Yeah, that'd be fun.
of course, because you got someone like the Thing walking around. If the Thing's walking around, boom, boom, boom. Okay, now, so
Hilarious.
they bought right Avengers Tower because the Avengers moved to a compound
Right.
in the movie. No one's in the tower, so now the tower gets bought. One, who's it renamed the Baxter Building? So did Reed have enough money to buy it? Did someone else buy it for him? There's so many questions on that. We know that's what it
Mm-hmm.
is. The base of the Baxter Building, underground, where the arc reactor was, is where Reed has for a rocket ship. That's where it's staying, or the pogo plane. I saw drawings of it. So this has got me excited. So we know for the very first movie, which I thought they would do it the other way. It's called Fantastic Four First Steps. So first step where? First step in space? Did a first step in the negative zone? Is it first step because it's the first step? The Fantastic Four are finally in the MCU,
MCU. Mm-hmm.
because look at the Spider-Man movies, No Way Home, and the titles it has, right? The more
Yep.
recent ones. So when Fantastic Four, I thought they would lead up. I thought they would do it as a 3-story arc leading up to Galactus. And they're Galactus right out the gate. So,
Very
what I forgot to
interesting.
mention was, what if season 3? And this is what
Oh yeah.
ties in. So, what if season 3? We know it's coming out. Maybe a couple episodes. This is the last season. They're not going to do any more after this. But the big thing about the what if is the Watcher. You too, the Watcher.
Yep.
So we all know Galactus is coming. He's there. He's in the first
Mm-hmm.
movie. That's where we have to deal with Galactus. Silver Surfer will be there, but Silver Surfer is gender swapped. It's not going to be a man. It's going to be a woman this time. Okay.
Right.
It is what it is. Cool, cool. No problem with that. But who warrants the Fantastic Four about Galactus coming? In the comic book, it's the Watcher. That's the first time the Watcher makes his presence known, and he breaks his oath of non-interference. He goes
Right.
and he sees the Fantastic Four saying, "Hey guys," and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're a big-headed bald alien. Don't worry about it. I'm the Watcher. This is who I am. I come in peace. Hashtag, this is coming. Huh? Prepare for Galactus. Out." And then Galactus shows up and then Silver Surfer shows up the next issue, and then Galactus shows up the issue after that, and then they deal with Galactus that first appearance and run for it. Okay, so you're starting off with Galactus. What's Fantastic Four second step? What's Fantastic Four third step?
Yeah. It just blows my mind. Now, segueing from our last episode with Doom.
Like Dwayne,
Like
segue.
I said, segue. I'm just like I'm saying, it's hard for me to have Fantastic Four without Doom. So why don't we have I think we did bring it up and say Galactus shows up. Doom, of course, now is going to be, I want I want to I want to rule the world, but I need the world to be ruled. I need a world here to rule. So
Yes.
maybe that might be something where the second one comes in or a third one comes in. We're dealing with Doom, but we may have to say, yeah, that first step is like we're doing a first step to a very large inter intergalactic type of event. Again, we dealt with the Guardian of the Galaxy, but that was elsewhere. Thanos was the closest one here, but that was just planetary in that sense. No one else, none of the rest of the galaxy, of course, had to worry about Thanos and his snap, but Earth just dealt with that. But Galactus is, if you take Galactus is another level. So I'm hoping that
Uh-huh.
Galactus Galactus is coming in. But Galactus comes
Yeah.
in, we have introduction to Doom, and we have the Doom that again, it's not RDJ. That's just me.
Right. Right. Okay. So here's my theories, or what I'd like to see. Not even theories. Here's what I'd like to see. If they're starting off the first movie with
With Galactus.
outer space with Galactus, heavy hitter, looking forward to it.
Right.
Right. Okay. That's done. I know generally, Silver Surfer turns on Galactus. Galactus leaves Earth. he traps the Silver Surfer on Earth, so the Silver Surfer can never get past. Right, so he's stuck on Earth for a while, and then he's asking Reed, "Hey, can you find a way to get me past this invisible shield that Galactus put around that stops anyone with the power cosmic to get through, so I can soar the spaceways again?" But he explores Earth. He's going to learn about Earth till that's figured out. Movie number 2, and I've talked about this. You know, me and you've talked about this before. We never got to it, but
I know
we'll get to it now. So, movie number 2, you got to give me something like either the main villain has to be, to me, Mole Man, right? Like, you got to be Mole Man. And I'd love to be Mole Man. Mole Man is a classic villain. So I know that the Fantastic Four will show up in the Avengers movies, whole Doom War one. I know we didn't talk about it too much because we talked about Doom in the last one, but the Fantastic Four will be making appearances in the Doom War movies. So we're going to be teaming up to deal with that whole situation. So as a Fantastic Four movie, Doom might show up as a cameo. But first one, Galactus. Second one, I'd love to see Mole Man. Let them underneath, get me that Indiana Jones feel. There we go. Fantastic Four, let's call it third step. Third step, okay, let's go where no one. The Marvel movies have taken us to different universes, or we've gone into outer space. Sorry, to say different galaxies. We've gone to different dimensions, but we've never gone to a zone. And I think it would be amazing have analysts in the negative zone coming through. And so this way, one movie, the Fantastic Four, deal with Earth and outer space. Second movie, they're underground. Third movie, they're in the negative zone, dealing with Annalise, and stopping him from coming over from the negative zone to try to rule the Earth. Because, we can't do Micronauts until the lawyers kind of get their stuff together, and then they can rename the quantum zone to the microverse. That's a different story. I'm not going to get into that because that's going to be a rant. But I'm going to talk about the negative zone. There's things that are always cemented with Fantastic Four. That is Galactus goes hand in hand. Doom goes hand in hand. Mole Man and the negative zone. The reason I mention the negative zone because there's a whole invasion storyline with the negative zone where it brings in who? The human rocket Nova.
Okay.
That's what I'd love to see. That's what I love to see. Bring me those rogue gallery. The Skrulls have been done through the Avengers. Don't need to repeat it. Right? Namor has been done through Black Panther. Don't need to repeat it. Right? We're good. But Mole Man hasn't been done. Annalise hasn't been done. Galactus is being done properly. Okay. Let's go with that.
Now you're making me think of something. Segueing from there to Secret Wars. So what's the main, not villain, but the main protagonist of
Beyonder?
Secret Wars? So
hit me with
can the Galactus is first? What if by the time the release of Secret Wars, will Fantastic Four 2, how soon after would that be? Because now, if I remember correctly, the Beyonder, I think on the second time he came to Earth, was he not interacting with Sue?
Yeah.
Was he interacting with the Fantastic Four?
Yes, he did. He crossed over everyone's comic book.
Right. I know he crossed over with everybody to a certain degree. Like I know with the X-Men, I know he definitely interacted with the X-Men and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm thinking X-Men still haven't been, hasn't made present yet. So it would have been too early to have a Beyonder and an X-Men kind of connection. Right. So that's why I wasn't thinking them. I was thinking, if anything, Beyonder comes in with Secret Wars.
Yes.
And then, okay, I brought you guys, I brought all your humans, Misao Ferengi, humans, bring you over and try to figure you guys out. And good and evil. Okay, you guys tried it out. All right, you guys won. Congratulations. Cool. Let me go back and see what the humans are about and make an appearance. And let's have them with Marvel's first family. Let the first family be the introduction and have a good conversation, like saying, this is what humans are about. This is what we're about. And build off of that. So definitely that's a lot. That's a lot of forecasting. But if you're doing Galactus, you do analysis. If we bring him, maybe just swap those two and put the Beyonder before him, because at least at the time that Beyonder comes out, he should have already made a quote unquote appearance. Hopefully, if they're doing the storyline as close as possible, source material. So Secret Wars, Beyonder should have already been introduced.
Right. So even if he's just cameos here and there.
Right.
Because in Secret Wars, that 12-issue series, at one point, Doom turns around and he kind of backstabs Galactus, takes Galactus's power, and then he tries to fight the Beyonder.
Correct. So
Victor Von Doom for the win.
Listen, this goes back to, as much as respectfully liking, Mr. Robert Downey Jr. I can't see Robert Downey Jr. being Doom and being that, like,
he's not that Doom.
He's not that Doom. He's not that Doom. So it's definitely going to have to be, someone's going to have to play Doom, who's going to basically say, I want the powers of, I should be showing us the mindset of, like, saying, I'm the only person with air in my lungs who is properly equipped to rule this planet called Earth. Wait, some guy named Galactus trying to take over my future conquest? Nah, I have to take on Galactus. Wait a minute, is someone more powerful than Galactus? I must always I need to be the most powerful being on this thing called Earth.
Bait and switch, man. Yeah, I think it's a bait and switch.
So again, you're right. Like Doom went for Galactus, backstabbed him, basically. It was like, you know what? I need this power. There's someone powerful than you. I need that power, but I need you, Galactus. I need your power so I can take out the big guy. He's like the final level, like the boss level. I gotta take out the boss level. I need your power. I'm gonna stab you up, take your power, so I can go after the boss level, so I can be the ultimate boss. That's Doom.
Stab you up.
If that's not Doom, what do we? That's Doom.
It's Doom.
That's Doom.
Okay. That's
so that, to me, it could be a possible trajectory of the MCU. We've done Thanos.
Yep.
Thank you for your contribution. Thank you for your contribution to the MCU. Thank you. You can have this plaque. We have the parting gifts. Thank you very much. All good to you.
Here's a retirement watch.
There you go. Congratulations. Thank you for your good service. Thank you very much. All right, you're out. All right, who's next? Galactus? All right, Galactus, come in. We'll just have you for a little while. Beyonder. Just throw an event, sir. We'll come to you shortly. Just we'll have you in an interview room in a couple of years. Just stay there, sir. Don't worry about it. We see you. Thank you.
Wow.
Want some more coffee? Thank you. And that's it.
Here's your watch.
Then me like coming out of the door, like saying, "All right, we're looking for Beyonder here." Oh yeah, I can come. Let's come. Let's have a little talk. And that's it. It's like an interview. Like saying, "How are you gonna do? I think I'm gonna do great. Like, listen, I'm ready for this part. Yeah, what's your name? I'm Beyonder, Galactus. Nice to meet you. I think they want me in the first role. Sure, they can use me on the Beyonder. Like, yeah. Let me get first, kid. All right, cool, fine. That's it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the forecast.
That's right, because the Beyonder has to come in at some point for the Secret Wars storylines.
Well, this is exactly it. Now, I will immediately admit the original Secret Wars is embedded in my DNA. So I'm really trying to remember the Doom one, like the latest version, and like, and all that. I like, because they made it differently. They made it differently with the latest one, and I don't recall it super tough to my head right now. I'll be honest.
No, it was so many crossovers and tie-ins, man. It got
right.
Right.
I lost. I just couldn't keep up.
I fell off at one point. It was too many crossovers. The original one when Mike Zeck was doing the art. Amazing because Mike was doing also the art for the Punisher, I think, War Journal at that point. I like his art style, especially, so when he did the covers and then he was doing the interior, I was all in that. 12 issues. Okay. No tie-ins. It was just boom. That's what it is. Thank you very much.
Right. So I really don't know if there is a Beyonder. And please forgive me, anyone out there, please forgive me. I'll be honest, I cannot recall if there's a Beyonder in the Doom War one, like the Doom War. You know what I mean? I know they had Thor and everything. You know what I mean? That had the different worlds, basically. How at least Secret War was one piece of planet type of scenario.
Yeah, because they took pieces of planet from different places and
different times and whatever the case to be. So I can't recall if the writers had written their Doom, whatever the case to be, and just like we know in Secret War, the original one, Beyonder is right there, like the top level. I can't immediately remember if Beyonder is in the storyline at the top level. And I'll be honest, I'll just have to like I said, I just wasn't able
all
to
I know is
all
there's one thing I need to see in Secret Wars. If they're doing this, I mean, not if when they do the Secret Wars storyline, there's only one thing I really want to see that really cements that for me. They have to make that metal Coliseum. Like you remember, they had that big metal, it looked like a giant circle, and it landed right in Central Park. And so everyone went to investigate it, and there was like 4 ways to enter it, like just a giant circle. So it was like a giant Coliseum, right? And it had like 4 doorways, like north, south, east, west. And, let's say the Fantastic Four came and went through, let's say, east doors. The X-Men came through the west door. Spider-Man came through the south door, and they all showed up at the same time. And there was another one that brought in all the villains. And then it put a bubble over itself. The ground tore up and it just took off in outer space because Beyonder called it back. It was like a rat trap. And he got all the heroes that way. You know what I mean? And that's how he got them because of curiosity got them. Exactly. Curiosity got them. That's what I want to see. It has to at least have not a version of it. I want to see that in the movie. So there we go.
Nice. That would be very nice. That's a deep cut, a classic deep cut that those who know will know. And they'll be like, yeah, that actually would be nice.
That's the one. Yeah, man. Okay. So you know what? I like this. It's a nice round table discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic Four, I'm excited for. I see they're already doing a lot of the promotional material that they gave out the San Diego Comic-Con in Hall H this year. So very excited. I know they did a whole drone thing outside where it showed like Galactus and then Wolverine and
yeah. I saw that. Was really nice. Like, okay.
They're really going all out. So if you're going all out, you didn't take John Krasinski, the guy who played oh my gosh. The Amazon series.
Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah. The one he played Mr. Fantastic in, where they brought in like the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
Everyone was hoping for him and his wife to be, Mr. Fantastic and Sue. All right. You didn't go with them. You didn't do the fan service. You went this way with it. Let's see how it turns out. So I got my fingers crossed. And I'm more curious to see what's the subplot, how it's going to tie in. And I want to see another Fantastic Four movie because we've never really gotten 3 Fantastic Four movies in a row. So what's funny is this is the 4th Fantastic Four team that they're doing for the Fantastic Four. Because I'm counting the original one that never made it to air, but you can find it on YouTube like we are. Mm-hmm. Then you had the second one that had like Jessica Alba,
right?
And
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans. Right. So they made 2.
Yeah.
Right. That was the second team. And then there was a third one that had Michael B. Jordan.
Yep.
That was a Human Torch in that one.
Yep.
And now this is the 4th Fantastic Four. Yeah. The 4th rendition of the Fantastic Four team, and because that was 1 movie, 2 movies, 3, 4. So there's 4 Fantastic Four movies. All teams made 1 except for Jessica Alba and Chris Evans. They made 2. So this would be the 5th movie with the 4th team. There we go. All right. It's like Studio 54. All right. Then.
Listen, I'm expecting good thing with that one because at least they got but they got a good backing by having Disney and Marvel now that it's going to be one of those type of movies that everybody's waiting for it. Like it's basically saying that, the Russo come home to rest kind of scenario. Okay. You're back home now in Marvel. Let's begin. So
and that's, there's so much thing with the Fantastic Four because I know they brought in like the actor who did Black Bolt because when they did the Inhumans
Yes.
TV movie and then slash TV series, they didn't really put him in his original costume. That actor is now doing Strange New Worlds as Captain Pike. They brought him back in the Multiverse of Madness in his traditional costume as Black Bolt. He looked fantastic. Of course, you know, you watch that movie, he pretty much died in there. But that's the multiverse. Maybe they can bring in the Inhumans again and more. The blue area of the moon. Okay, but yeah, we could go on for hours. But yeah, that's it on my side. Rod, any last words, man?
Listen, I'm happy for what we're seeing. This is some very good news. And you know, D23 come with the phase 6 of announcements, giving us the highlights, what we're expecting to see. Yeah, there was some other stuff that was spoken about within the last month, and unfortunately they got put aside by Silver Blade, but we won't get into that. We do apologize for that. But listen, hopefully that is not going to be it's not going to fall too short. They'll bring it back. They'll figure it out and give us a reboot of Blade. But anyways, those are some of the stuff that I'm happy to see. I can't wait to see what Marvel Disney does with these IPs. We've been like I say, coming all the way down to Fantastic Four. We'll just end it with that. That was like a lot of people have been waiting for this. It's back home now. You're back home.
Exactly. You called it. It's back home. It's back home. No more asking for storylines, no more variations. It's back home. Okay. All right. Awesome. So everyone, thank you once again for tuning in to the iConis podcast. The icon is D23, Hall H, San Diego Comic-Con, Marvel. Come on, let's go. You know what to do. Like, subscribe, and share. Check out our past episodes. And keep in mind, I've been doing some other episodes too, where I've been doing some toy hunting and I've been posting those antique malls, finding some vintage stuff, seeing what I've been getting and finding and coming across. So keep that going. Those people seem to really love those videos, and I'm happy about that. So that one is just strictly video on YouTube. You gotta join our YouTube channel to see those. I might put up an audio, but it's easier to see than what I'm talking about than on that one. Keep remember, this whole world was started with a pencil, a piece of paper, and lots of imagination. Keep on reading. We're out.